Dear students, I welcome you all to this e-learning series for the subject of computer science, class 12th. In this video lesson, we will be dealing with the lesson using Python libraries. This is the lesson included in your curriculum. Okay. So the points that we will be discussing will be introduction to the library, modules in Python, importing modules, namespace, package in Python, creating packages, and importing libraries. So as you have seen, all your school and colleges have libraries. And a library is a collection of, if you talk about school, the library is a collection of books. In that library, you find books of different subjects. And those books are also divided as per their subject. One almirah will be for physics, one will be for chemistry, another for biology, and so on. Okay. So similarly here also we distribute the functions that we require according to their requirement in various libraries. In the beginning of class 11th, where we discussed the properties of Python, we discussed that a Python has a rich libraries. Okay, so anything you require in Python is present in the form of a library. Okay, so you want to design a graphical user interface, there is a separate library for it. Okay, so you want to perform some graphical representation using charts and graphs, then there is a separate library for it. You want to perform some numerical operations on your data, then there is a separate library for it, because the basic Python installation is very light. It is made very light so that it is easily installed and easily executed. But whenever you need something extra in Python, what you do is you just install it, the library that you require. So if you want to work on artificial intelligence, there is a separate library for it. Okay. Similarly, there are lakhs and lakhs of libraries that are available for Python, and depending upon your requirement, you can search for them and you can download those libraries. Okay. So let's get started with the introduction to the library. So in programming, library refers to a collection of modules that together cater to specific types of need or application. So let us consider an example of calculator. So if a calculator is an application and it has various modules like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, logarithm, antilog, then we have sine, cos, different functions. So those functions can be considered as separate modules. Okay. So a collection of those modules taken together can be called as a library. So if you have created a program for calculator that includes all the functions that are needed in a calculator, so that you can convert it into a library and you can use that library in some other programs also. Okay. So Python supports various libraries for different requirements. Let us take some examples. The first one is NumPy, numerical Python. It is the library of Python that caters to the scientific computing needs. Okay. Second, Matplotlib. It helps with plotting of datasets. It has various modules, various functions related to charts and graphs. Okay. And next we have Pandas that provides fast, expressive and flexible data structure to easily work with structured and time series data. When you are working on a data set, okay, data science, there is an emerging field. So there Pandas are very much used, and Pandas are in the syllabus of IP also. Okay. So let's move forward. So library is a collection of modules and packages that together cater to a specific type of applications or requirements. So depending upon your requirement, there are various libraries that are available for installation, and you can also create your own libraries. Okay. So a library can have multiple modules in it. So if you have created a library named calculator, then it will have modules for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on. Okay. Some commonly used Python libraries. First one, that is Python standard library. The libraries that are bundled with the basic installation of Python. So this library is distributed with Python that contains modules for various type of functionalities. Some basic requirements that you need in your Python programming are already provided to you with that Python installation. Some example are math, random, and statistics. And these modules you have worked with in class 11th. Okay, so these are some modules that are available with the Python installation. When you download the Python, these come with that pre-installed. Okay, so these are with the Python standard library. Okay, so the Python standard library contains the modules that come bundled with the application itself. You do not have to download it separately. Okay, some others that we have discussed, that is NumPy, numerical Python, SciPy, scientific Python, Kinter, this is used to design graphical user interface, and we have discussed Matplotlib, okay, for plotting. Now we have discussed about modules various times. We have discussed this term 2-3 times in the previous slides. So what is a module? So first let us discuss modularity. This is a basic concept of object oriented programming. So the act of partitioning a program into individual components is called modularity. So when you divide a large program into separate modules, that is called modularity, that we have discussed with the example of calculator. So a module is a separate unit in itself. Okay, so it is a separate unit. If it is attached to a program, it can work independently. Okay, so partitioning a program is required. Why? As it reduces its complexity to some degree, because it becomes easy to read and the program looks well defined. Okay, it creates a number of well defined documented boundaries within the program. Okay, so for example, you have in your home, you have various rooms. Okay, why they are created? To make well defined boundaries. One room is for study, one room is for one is for dining room, one another is for another kitchen. So all those rooms are well defined. Okay, so it can be a case that no rooms are created, then what will be the scene? It will be a hodgepodge of all the things in one large room. So to make it a well defined boundary system, we create various rooms in our houses. Okay, also its contents can be reused in other programs without having to rewrite or recreate them. So if you have defined a module for addition and subtraction, etc., so you can use them in any other programs that you have created or you are going to create in your future. So what is the structure of a Python module? So a Python module contains much more than just functions. Okay, so it contains functions and other things also. So let us discuss them. A Python module is a basic definition. A Python module is a normal Python file. It is nothing special. It is just a Python file that has an extension of .py. Okay, but it contains one or more of the following objects. What are these objects? The first one is the docstring. Okay, what is a docstring? It is a triple quoted comment useful for documentation purpose. So whenever you create a module, in the beginning only you provide docstrings, so that anyone that looks on to that module can know the purpose of that module and the working of those modules and other things that you want to tell that user. Okay, that is called docstring. It is used for documentation. Okay, the strings used for documentation are called docstrings. Okay, so these are triple quoted comments. They are given at the beginning, that contains the basic documentation of that module. Okay, next we can have variables and constants. Okay, so the data that we want there, for suppose for addition we want to have two variables x and y, so you can give those names only. Suppose in math module we have a constant for pi, so we can have variables and constant in our modules. Next we have classes. Classes are template to create objects of a certain kind. Okay, so they are just like a blueprint in which when you create something it will be of same kind. Okay, classes are not in your syllabus, but you can just consider them as a ब्लूप्रिंट, जिसको हम कहते हैं सांचा. उसमें आप जो डालेंगे तो वो सब एक ही जैसे फॉर्मेट में निकल के बाहर आएंगे. सो दीज आर द टेम्पलेट्स टू क्रिएट ऑब्जेक्ट्स ऑफ अ सर्टेन काइंड. देन वी हैव ऑब्जेक्ट्स. ऑब्जेक्ट्स आर instances of classes. Classes do not exist in real. The objects are existing in real. They are the instances of the class that represent some real or abstract entity. Then we can have some instructions. The instructions that you have read about in class 11th, how to write statements. Then we can have functions. So basically the main component of a module is functions, but it can have other things also like doc strings, variables, classes, objects, etc. Okay. So a Python module is a file. Okay, if you want to sum up a module, that is a Python module is a file, that is a Python file containing variables, class definitions, statements and functions related to a particular task. This is very important. So that module should have a particular task to perform. Okay. Now, how do you import modules? That you have done in class 11th also, when you worked with modules of math, random and statistics. So to use functionalities of a module, we have to first import them in our program. So what we have an import statement. So Python provides import statement to import modules in a program. But there are some different ways to import a module. So you can import the entire module, or you can just require some basic or some specific functionalities of that module. Okay, so suppose a module contains of 100 functions and you do not want to use import all those 100 functions, so you can just mention the name of those functions that you require. Okay, so first type is, if you want to import the entire module, what you will write is, you will write import and the name of the module. For example, you write import math, import random. Okay, you have used it, and these import commands are at the beginning of the program. Okay, but if you do not want to import the entire module because it will add on to the size of the program, so what you will do is, you will just name those objects that you want to import. How you will write? There are two ways. You will write from the name of the module, then import the name of the objects. Okay, so for example, from math import pi. Okay, or for example, let's discuss some another example, that is from math import sine comma cos comma pi. So we have just used three objects. One is sine function, one is cos function, and another is the constant called pi. Okay, and if you want to import all the objects, there is also a command. You can write from the name of the module import star. You know, star means everything. So for example, from math import star. So all those objects will be imported. But this line is different. Please note, this line is from module name import star is different from this. Both the lines will import the entire module. This will also import the name of the module, will also import the entire module, and this line also. What is it? From module name import star. This will also import the entire module, but there will be some differences that we will be discussing in a while. Okay, so you have came to know about the three commands that are available with you to import a module differently. One is import space name of the module. It will import entire module. If you want some specific object, then you have from space module name space import space the name of the objects separated by comma. And the third one is from space module name space import space star. Okay, so it will also import all the objects defined in the module. Okay, so what is the difference? Let's go through it. So first we will discuss how to import the entire module. To import entire module, we write the statement like import space module name, or if you want to import more than one module, we will be writing like import module 1, comma module 2, comma module 3 and so on. Okay. The import statement internally executes the code of module, the module file, and then makes it available to the program. Okay, so whenever you import it, all the statements of that module are executed first to check that they are ready to use or not. It might be the case that someone has changed the code. Okay, so if there is an error, it will be reported to you. That's why they are executed before importing, that is before making them available to you. Okay, so all those statements are executed internally and then they are made available for your program. So when you import that, everything defined in that module will be available for your use. Okay, so how you will use the functions or the variables inside it? You know the name of the module, you know the name of the functions or the variables. So how you will use it? You will be using this method in which you will name the module. You will use the dot operator to go inside that module, and then you will name the function, or you can name the object. For example, module name, for example, we have math, so math dot sign, a function. This is a function. Then you can use print math dot py. This is a constant. So whenever you have to use any object of that module, you will use the name of the module dot name of the object. Clear? And we can also give an alias name to the module. Suppose the module name is very large. For example, matplotlib. It is very difficult to write again and again. So you can just write import matplotlib as MP, or you can write import numpy as NP. So what will be the scenario? That the name of the module can be referenced with the name NP or MP. If you have written import matplotlib as MP, then you can use that MP for in the place of matplotlib whenever you want to access that module in your program. Okay. The thing to be noted is, a module, when it is imported once, it will not be imported again and again. So if you have written that import math statement 2-3 times, so it will not be executed, it will not be imported again and again. It will, whenever the first import math statement is executed, the math module will be available to you, it will be imported, but the rest of the import statements will not be executed because that module has already been executed. Okay, so you have understood this, the method of importing the entire module. Okay, so whenever you want to import entire module, you write import the name of the modules separated by comma, and if you want to use any functionality of it, you first name the module, then use the dot operator, and then the name of the object. Clear? That object can be a function or a variable or a constant. Okay, depending upon that you will use this bracket. If it is a function, then only you will use this bracket sign, otherwise you will be using direct name. Okay, for example, we have discussed mat.py, there will be no brackets. Okay, next, importing selected objects from a module. You have already seen the statements. So first statement is from module name import object name. Okay, and another case is from module name import object 1 comma object 2 comma and so on. And the third method is from module name import star everything. That means all the objects will be imported. So examples, from math import pi. So we have imported that constant pi from that math module. Next example, from math import POW comma SQRT. So we have imported here the function of power and square root. And the last example is from math import star. So with this statement we have imported all the objects. The thing you have to note here is that you will not use the name of the module with the imported objects as we have used in the previous case. You can see here we use module name dot object name. Okay, but here we will not be using the name of the module. Okay, so do not use the module name with imported objects if imported through the above methods, because the imported object is now the part of your program environment. Okay, so this is the basic difference, and this difference will be cleared in the next few minutes to you. So the basic difference between the two approaches, what are the two approaches? The first one is importing like this, using importing entire module and importing selected objects from the module. So the basic difference is here you do not use the name of the objects with the you do not use the name of the module with the objects, because those objects are now the part of your program environment. Okay, and to understand this difference in detail, first you will have to understand the concept of namespace. Okay, so this namespace may be a new concept to you. So try to understand the concept of namespace. It is very simple. I will correlate it with your real life, and you will be able to understand that concept of namespace, and then we will be discussing the basic difference, how these two approaches are different. Okay, so let's start with the namespace. So you can see the namespace, the name of the space. Space means the area that is provided to you. Every space has some name. Okay, in your home also, all those spaces, that the rooms have their name: drawing room, bathroom, reading room, and so on. Okay, so a namespace in general is a space that holds a bunch of names. Okay, it is very easy definition. A bunch of name that is held in a namespace. Okay, so it is a space that holds a bunch of names. Names means it can be a variable, it can be a function, it can be a constant. So you know the naming convention in Python, that is bunch of names means bunch of identifiers. Okay, the how to define this namespace? Okay, in programming definition, it will be a namespace is a named logical environment holding logical grouping of related objects within it. Its member objects is referred without any prefix. Okay, so to understand it, let's go back to the functions where we discussed the concept of that separate memory space being created in every function call. Okay, I think you may recall that whenever a new function call is made, a new environment, a new memory space that is called execution frame is created. Okay, and all those variables in a function are stored in that execution frame. So we have discussed in the live classes also that your main program has a separate namespace, or we can separate memory area, and all the function calls that are made are executed in a separate memory area. So we can call those separate memory areas as namespaces. Okay, so it is very easy. So a namespace, it is a named boundary, means it is a logical environment, and that logical environment will have some objects in it. Okay, for example, you have created 3-4 variables or 2-3 lists and one tuple, one dictionary in your main program. Then your main namespace will have those lists, tuples, and dictionary. And when you make a call to a function, and in that call you have two variables x and y, so that memory space or that execution frame will have those variables. Okay, so that function, suppose the name of the function is addition, so that will be a separate namespace. The main function has a separate namespace. Similarly, you have functions for subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. So whenever they will be called, a separate namespace will be created. Okay, the main thing to note is whenever you want to refer to an object, you will not use any prefix. Okay, so if you have defined a variable x in your main program, you will just write print x, okay, because that x is in your namespace. If it is to be accessed from some other namespace, then you have to prefix something before it, okay. So for every module, Python creates a namespace having the name similar to that of the module name. So when you import math module using the command import math, a separate namespace named math will be created, and all those objects will be in that module, in that namespace, okay. So what is a namespace? Is just a memory area having a particular name. So what Python does is creates separate namespaces for separate modules that you import, okay. When two namespaces come together to resolve any kind of object name dispute, Python requires to qualify the name of the object like module name dot object name, okay. Suppose you have a student called Amit in class 12th and same Amit name in class 11th. So when they are in their own classes, then you will just name them Amit, so they will be referenced. But when they are in a group, the science group having 11 science and 12 science, then you have to call Amit of class 11th, Amit of class 12, okay. So when they are in their separate, in their own namespaces, then you just name them Amit, they are referenced. But when they come together in one namespace, then you have to write class 11 dot Amit, class 12 dot Amit, like this. Similarly, when the object is in its own namespace, you can just call the name of that object. But if there are many namespaces coming together, then you have to call them like module name dot the object name, okay. I think the namespace concept is very clear to you. It is very easy, okay. It is just like creating a separate memory space having a particular name, and some variables, some functions will be stored in that particular space, okay. So we have discussed this namespace. Now you will be able to understand the difference between the two approaches, okay. So let's go forward. So try here in this slide we will be discussing the difference between the import command and from import command, okay. So first we will discuss the import module command. What will be the scenario? Here the code of the imported module is interpreted and executed. This is the basic thing. It is done anywhere. Whenever you write an import statement, this is done. Then this is the second point is very important. Defined functions and variables, because you have imported the entire module. So all those functions and variables that are created in module are now available to the program. Very good. But for the imported module, a new namespace is set up. This is the main area that you have to focus on. That whenever you import a module using this command, a new namespace will be created that will be having the name of the module only. And the fourth point is, whenever you have to access any object of that module, you will access with the name of the module dot the name of the object, okay. Now we go to that from import command. Here first point is similar. The code of the imported module is interpreted and executed. Very good. But only the required functions and variables will be available in the program. But why? Because you have used this approach due to your requirement, because you do not want to import all the objects, all the variables, all the classes of that module. You just want some specific functions and variables to be used. So only those functions and variables will be available to your program. The third one, very important. Okay, this is the defining point. Please focus on this third point. Here you can see no new namespaces is created. Please note, no new namespace is created. The imported definition is just added in the current namespace. Means the namespace of your main program will have all those variables and functions in it. No separate memory space, that is called namespace, will be created. This is the basic difference between the two approaches. Here you can see for imported module a new namespace is set up, but Here no new namespace is created. The imported definitions of those variables or functions are added to the current namespace. They become the part of your namespace, your current namespace that in which you are working, that is your main program. So as they have become the part of your main program, your namespace, then you do not require any name to access them separately. You just call them by their name, they will be accessed because they have become your part. In this approach, first one, they are in a separate module, in a separate namespace. That's why you have to use the module name dot object name. Then only you can access them. But now they are the part of your current namespace, so you do not require any this type of calling method. You just the objects of the module can be referenced directly. Okay, there can be, but you have to note that there can be a name clash in this approach. Why? Suppose you have imported a module. If you write, for example, you have written from math import pi, and you have also created a variable pi in your program also, then there will be a clash of names because you have two variables called pi, one in your Python program and another variable constant called pi in that Python math module. Okay, then there will be a name clash. Okay, so to avoid this approach, the first one will be preferred. So this is the only disadvantage of this approach, that there can be a clash of names in this approach. Okay, so you have to be very careful while defining any variable in the program and using this approach. Okay, here the two advantages are that only some function and variables will be imported, the entire module will not be imported, and the second thing, those imported things will be the part of your namespace. No separate memory space will be created for them and they will be referenced directly. Whereas in the previous approach, a new namespace is set up and then you have to approach it like module name dot object name. Okay, so this will be a question in your examinations also for theoretical part. What is the difference between the two approaches? Okay, so you have to be clear about that concept of namespace, then only you can define the difference. Okay, so please note that in the second approach there can be a name clash, so you should be careful while using this approach. Okay, great. Now we come to package. Okay, so what is a package? Package, you know, in general language it is a collection. Okay, similarly here in Python also it is a collection of Python modules under a common namespace. Okay, so what you can say is a package is a collection of modules. So what you will do is you will create different modules. What are modules? Modules are just like a Python program that contains docstrings, functions, variables, constants, classes and other statements. Okay, so these are nothing special, these are just a Python file having an extension .py. So when you combine all those modules together under a common namespace, they become a package. Okay, so a package is a collection of Python modules under a common namespace created by placing different modules on a single directory along with some special files. Please note these 2-3 words, that is with some special files. Okay, so you will be creating a directory, that is a folder. There will be a folder and that folder will contain all those modules. Okay, and that folder will also contain some special files. And what is that special file? That special file is called this dunder init dunder.py. There is no space between these underscores, but to make them clear to you, I have just given the space. This is $init $.py. So there will be a file named like this, init initialization. Okay, so $init $.py. It will be a Python file. It can have something in it or it can be a blank file also, but it should be there in a package. If a folder is not containing this file, it will be just like a simple directory. It will not be treated as a package by Python. So to treat a folder as a package, this file dunder init dunder.py must be there in that folder. Okay, so the basic difference between a general directory and a package is this file dunder init dunder.py. Okay, so a general folder will not contain this file. Okay, clear to you? Great. So in a directory structure, in order for a folder containing modules to be organized as a package, to be recognized as a package, this file must be there in that folder. Okay, and it can be empty. Okay, you should not be worried about the contents of this file. You can just create this file. You can just create this file dunder init dunder.py. No content in it, just save it in that folder and it will be treated as a package by the Python. Then only it will be imported. General directory, that is general folder, that is a simple folder, cannot be imported using import command by Python. So that must have that dunder init dunder.py. Okay, so the large concept is library that we are discussing. So a library can have one or more packages and sub packages. Okay, so to understand the hierarchy, we can write like this. We can have at the top of the hierarchy we have library, and the library will be having packages. That packages will be having sub packages, and those sub packages will be having modules, and those modules will be having functions. Okay, so if we follow bottom to top method, what will be the bottom entity? Functions. Collection of functions becomes module. Collection of modules become package, and the collection of packages become library. Clear? So library, under it we will be having packages or sub packages, and inside those packages or sub packages will be having modules, and inside those modules we will be having what? The basic entity, that is functions. Okay, so functions are the basic building blocks. Clear? Most of the times the term library and package are used interchangeably. Okay, most of the times the term library and package are referred as same. Okay, we can say library or we can say package. Okay, so they are just like synonyms. Okay, so you have understood the directory structure. So to make a general folder a package, we must have that dunder init dunder.py file in it. Okay, then only it will be treated as package. Now how to create a package? First you have to decide the basic structure of your package. You have to first decide what will be the name that you will give to that package, and what will be the modules and sub modules and package and sub packages that you will be storing in them. Okay, that you have to design theoretically in a separate paper. Okay, suppose you want to create a separate module for a separate package for mathematical functions. Okay, then you can have in that mathematical package, then you can have modules for different branches of mathematics. Suppose you can have one module for algebra, one for trigonometry, one for statistics. Okay, some and other branches of mathematics also. You can have a separate module for mensuration related functions. Okay, so what you have named a package math, then inside that math you have different sub packages or modules for algebra, trigonometry and mensuration, etc., all the branches of mathematics, and inside those modules you have functions related to them, functions for algebraic operations, functions for trigonometric operations, functions for all those branches that you have made. Okay, so this is a structure that you have made in a piece of paper. Then you will create those directory structures in your computer. You will make folders, you will make subfolders according to it, and you will make modules. What are modules? These are general Python files in which you will be writing those functions. Just like you have created programs for calculator in the live classes. So that program of calculator will be treated as one module that has functions for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, so similarly you will be creating that structure in your paper, theoretical one. Then you will be making those folders and subfolders in your computer. that you will be creating them physically, and then you will be creating modules, and inside modules you will be having functions and other variables. Okay, then you will create those dunder init dunder.py file. Okay, so that dunder init dunder.py file will be placed in those packages and sub packages, because you know that without this file those folders will not be treated as packages or sub packages, they will be treated as simple folders. Okay, so first to create folders, inside you create subfolders, then inside those subfolders you place your modules. Inside those module Python files you will be having various functions related to that module, and after that you will create dunder init dunder.py file. It can be empty, and just copy paste them in all those packages and sub packages. Okay, it is the basic requirement of a package and sub package. Then when you are done with your packages, packaging and sub packaging, you have created your package, you have created sub packages, inside that you have created modules, and inside the modules you have created functions. Now what is the next thing? Now you have created your package, or you can call it library also. Now you have to associate that entire directory structure with the Python installation, then only it will be imported, otherwise it cannot be imported. Okay, so you will have to associate your entire package structure with the Python installation. And how do you do it? You just copy paste your entire directory structure in the folder of side packages. There will be a folder of side packages inside your Python installation. What you can do is you can right click on that Python IDLE and click open file location, and you will be directed to that directory where all those Python files folders will be available. Then you can search for this folder that is called side packages. Okay, it will be having all the packages inside it, and you just copy paste your entire directory structure in this folder, and then it will be ready for import purpose. Otherwise it will not be available for import. Okay, because it has not been associated with Python yet. So to associate a package with the Python, you have to copy paste inside this side package folder. Okay, now when you have associated that package with Python installation, your package and its sub packages and modules are available for importing, and you can just name it using import command, and they will be imported in your program. Okay, for import you have those three methods that we have discussed earlier. So this is how we create package, sub package, then modules. Okay, so to revise, we have to understand the basic concept of functions first. So if you are not aware about functions, go to the previous video lessons and the live classes also. We have discussed that concept in detail. Then the group of functions will be a module, then a group of modules will be a sub package, then those collection of sub packages will be a package, and that collection of packages will be treated as library. Okay, so I think you are clear with this library installation, how to create a library, how to create a package. Again I am telling you that the term of package and library can be used interchangeably. Okay, many a times they refer to the same entity. Okay, so this is all about the theoretical part of related to this chapter, using Python libraries, in which we have discussed all these points: libraries, modules, namespace, packages, and how to create packages and how to import library. Okay, I think all those points are clear to you. If not, please go through this video again as per your learning speed. You can be slow, okay, and you will be able to clear all your doubts. It is very easy topic. You have used this in class 11th in programming aspect, but the theoretical concept will be clear to you in this video lesson. And after this, I will be showing you how those libraries and packages are there in your actual Python installation. Okay, so look forward to it. I will be showing you the Python installation and the packages inside that. Okay, so this is our Python installation. Python 3.8, and these are the structures of folders that are available for you. Now we will be searching for that site package. Okay, this is our lib folder. Okay, inside this we will search for that site packages. Here you can see this is the folder site packages. Okay, here you will have all those modules, all those libraries or packages that you will create by yourself, and you will paste them in this directory. Then only they will be available for import. Okay, right now here are these MySQL, pip. These are the files that are available for you. You can let us just see one of this. This is MySQL. Here you can see this is that file that we were talking about. This is 0 bytes. It is an empty file, but it should be there to make it a package. Then we have these subfolders. Then inside this folder, this is a sub package. Why? Because it is having this init dunder file, and these are the modules, because the modules are the Python files, general Python files. Also, all these are the modules. These modules will be having functions inside them. Okay, this is the file that makes it is a sub package, and you can see this Django is also there. Okay, so these are the modules, because modules are just Python files. Okay, so the collection of modules becomes a sub package or a package, but a package must have this init dunder file in it. Okay, and the collection of all these will make them a package or a library. So you can have this MySQL as a library or a package. Inside this we are having this sub package, and this is sub package. Why? Because it is having this init file, and these are the modules. We have used this cursor module in file handling, in our connectivity of Python with MySQL. So let us open it and see its contents, so it will be clear to you. So we have opened it with the IDLE. Now you can see the contents. Okay, so here we have just a basic information. Here now we will be starting with this docstring. Just the docstring is just cursor classes. Now it is also importing some extra things. Okay, so these all are these files. You can see them in your own computers also. So this is a class. Okay, this is a function. Why it is a function? Because we can see this def. Okay, so this keyword is representing a function. Okay, so this is a class. Inside have class, we have definitions, we have function. So this is the entire structure. You can see it. This is another class. So this is the entire structure of a module. What is the name of the module? The name of the module is cursor. So all these functions, there are statements. Okay, there will be variables, classes. Okay, so this is a module. Combining all those modules become a sub package. Then this combination of this package having this init file, it makes a MySQL package or a MySQL library. Okay, so you can create your own, and you can just paste that entire directory structure here, and that will then it will be available for importing in your programs. Okay, so this is all about this chapter. I think I am able to clear all your doubts. Okay, if you have anything to ask, you can ask in the comment section, and we will be meeting in the next video lesson.